progress points. And if you have a look at just the process of publishing, it's a long, tedious process. It's going back over covers, going back over content layout inside the book. And in fact, I'm not so sure how much I'm able to share, but I will share this. When we got the original already designed book, I'd said to him, look, we need to fix the layout. And that's a hard thing to hear. Now, all of a sudden, you want to launch tomorrow, you want to launch in a week, but now we've got to go back. We've got to redo cover. We've got to redo the inside. So you've got to sit back, and after months of working on this as the author with a designer, you get to the publisher, and the publisher says, hey, hang on a second, we've got to make adjustments. And that's rough. That's rough, because the waiting game is a patient game. So I commend you, Zibu, for, first of all, understanding that we want for you to put out a product that is brilliant. We don't want it compromised in any way, shape, or form. And that when we apply our minds to any book whatsoever, whether we're editing or whether we're just doing design and taking it to market, it's about making sure that when we look at what you're presenting, it's your brand. That's your personal brand. And for Zibuse, I think that was a process of trying to understand, where do I position myself? How do I position myself? What am I doing with this? Do I need a website? Yes, of course. So all of this is happening, and there's costs involved. And then you've got to sit down and ask yourself the question, am I willing to invest in myself? Am I willing to invest in my own work, in my own effort, and without any commitment or without any guarantees that I'm going to sell this book? So, I commend you, Zibuse, for taking everything of yourself, putting it into the public eye, and then investing in yourself. And that takes great courage. And so that leads me on to the whole thing of motivation and belief. And it doesn't matter what you do in life, staying on point and remaining confident throughout the process is critical, absolutely critical. So I think that this is something Zibuse inherently knows and understands within himself. And when you look at his book and you look at the content that he's put together, that is basically his fundamental purpose, is to uplift and edify the reader. We had a guest over some time ago. Now, obviously, as a publisher, we print a couple of our own copies. And he picked up the book and he went through this. He's a very anxious human being. He owns his own business, but he's a very anxious human being, and he's not religious. So he looked at the content and he thought, wow, okay, and said to us quite honestly, this is something that he would take and read every morning because it calms him down. The messages were very tranquilizing for him. It gave him a bit of stability and some calming effects, which is brilliant. And my own personal story, when we just got into working together, and then we went to go and look at what else we could do, we looked at doing bookmarks and whatever. And here's one of Zibu's bookmarks here, which we designed and we put together. Zibu gave us the quote that he used on the bookmark. And, we need to do a series of these because I think that this is fabulous. But actually, when I looked at this the one day, I personally, we all go through difficult days, read through this quote, and I thought to myself, wow, that we have the opportunity to influence even the people we look up to's lives. So I want to say to Zibu, I look up to you. You are an example to many people that I work with, and I've used you as a case study with many of my clients who are young and looking to get into the publishing industry or publishing their works, whether it's art, actual art, or whether it's written works, poetry. And my voice to you, my voice to them. With every client, and with Zibuse, essentially, you've been probably one of the nicest clients we've ever worked with. But at the end of the day, that voice that you've created in your book and through the work that you do and through the interactions that we've had with you has come into and grafted itself into our voice. And that's amazing. You know, we have clients that we have and we do work for them and off they go. And, you know, but when we have a client like Zibuse who comes in with this powerful soul and comes in to blend with our business as a publishing house, there is gold. And those are the clients we live to wake up for every single day. So Zibuse, you know, thank you so much for who you are. Thank you so much for the value you bring to the world and to all of these people daily, through your book, through your posts. And honestly, I think that one has to commend you, because I can't imagine that you have brilliant days every day. I think that's just inhuman. But you still bring the brilliance to the table every single day. You're up early in the morning, because I can see that you're posting, that you're online, that you're doing, you know, you're working hard at building your story and giving your voice a space. And that takes commitment. And we absolutely love working with you. Your energy and spirit is going to go far, and we want to see you take your brand, your books, your words, everything that we're going to be doing throughout this year, 2024, and further, and have it touch all of the world and build this community of people who really are inspired and uplifted. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's basically, from our point of view, from a publishing house, where we are with what we want to contribute to the launch. And this year, you know, there are big things that we've put on the cards for Zibu, and for his books, and for, you know, other merchandise that could be launched later on. And honestly, you know, we're super excited to work on this contract and to make it really, really stick and get a massive, massive infiltration into the South African market, into Africa, and then into the rest of the world. So we are humbled and grateful to you. Thank you so much. And I think to all of you who are here, I just think it's amazing that you took the time out on a Saturday morning to come and spend time with Zibuse and this launch, because it's your Saturday morning. And it just says a lot about you as people, you know, and I'm pretty sure that through each of your voices, as these messages touch you, you are able, each one of you are able to then affect positive change around you. And that is what this is all about. It genuinely, if there's a crux, that's what the crux is. So yeah, thank you all for being here this morning. Not that it's for me to be thanking you, but it is very heartwarming to see, as a publisher, that Zibu's got such a powerful and, you know, committed audience. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, Jabu. That's me in a nutshell.
No, thank you very much, Vicky. That was powerful, and we want to thank you for supporting this initiative. You know, it's always great when you are taking on such a challenge, to have people who believe in you and to have people who support you. So, and I think we want to thank you very much as the publisher. You know, when I was reading through the book, I think on page 19 of the book, because Zibu structured this book in different themes, if I can call it that, but part 2 of the themes speak about dreams and aspirations. So as I was preparing for today, I read something which I want to share with you, which is very relevant to what we are doing today. And I think it's on number 31, where it says, it has been said not to despise the day of small beginnings. It turns out that we should also not underestimate the power of small things. A small screw can cause an airplane to crash. A tiny part in an engine can cause a car to stop. An infant can bring a huge joy in people's lives. We must never underestimate the power of small things. And I think when you read the book, you are able to get just these small bites, as I indicated earlier, that are going to just, re-energize you, make you think and say, you know what, sometimes I think I'm the unluckiest person in the world, but look at this, look at what God is doing. And I think, Vicky, you have said a lot. Zibu does this thing 365 days in a year. It's amazing. I don't know how he does it. I don't know when he sleeps. You did also speak about the bookmarks. Maybe people may not.
I wanted to know, could I read this quote? Do you mind?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes, so you can just gain context. I mean, and I was having a rough day. It takes a lot to destabilize me and for me to have a rough day. So I'll read the quote. It's really beautiful. It says, "Don't judge today based on yesterday, and don't plan for tomorrow based on this day. Each day brings its own mystery. Be present and start the day with positive morning thoughts that ignite your passion for life." It's powerful. I'm getting goosebumps just reading it now, but that's powerful. We all look to these quotes by famous people, and, they've all got reputations and long-term brands and all over the internet. But, sometimes the greatest wisdom can come from the very person that is our neighbor, the very person that is sharing their humble interpretations of life. But those thoughts come through to us with power and with impact. And that impacted me hugely. And so this stays on my desk. It doesn't go anywhere. It's on my desk every day. I look at it and I just remind myself. So thank you.
No, definitely. I have the bookmark. I have it here in front of me. And I think you said one of the most important things. We always read quotes from important people or popular people, but we've got a gem here in Zibuse. And what I like about him as well, in some of his work, is that he is not jealous to also use or collaborate with others. You just look at the art that sometimes he uses. Sometimes the message may not speak to me, but he has this art that I'm saying, wow, this child or these two people working together, holding hands, like in the bookmark, they inspire you. They say something. So colleagues, just remember, for those who may have joined late, we are in this session for the Morning Thoughts, a book launch, which was written by the coach, the author, the motivational speaker, the father, the husband, a friend. He is everything. It is a colleague to others, he is a neighbor to others, and he's launching his book today. And I think we must commend him because he has worked so hard, during the 2023, trying to get this book going. And he has been going through a lot of challenges getting this book through. And for me, I'm very happy for him today. So for those of you who joined late, I did say there's a competition that we are running. It's not a competition per se, but you will have a prize, the lucky reader. And I see the comments are coming in. So if you write on the comments where you are coming from, how you relate to Zibu, and what's your famous quote or famous words that you might have had from the book. Obviously, if you have not read the book, maybe that you might have read from his messages, that will still be fine. So we will give away. And as I said, there's one now, but there might be a surprise. There might be two. So just keep on participating, right? So we will get the winner. We are right on time, and I've seen some messages already to me. We have seen yours at your service. I've seen yours, Madali. We have seen yours. Yeah, Ephraim, I've seen yours, and then Mbasa as well, I've seen yours. So there will be a nice draw. So don't worry, if I've read it, it doesn't mean you don't have a chance. You have a chance to win. The book, remember, is also available on what you call this thing, on Amazon, on Kindle. I also have it on the Kindle here. You've got the hardcover as well. And you can also go online as you read the book. You know, if you go to goodreads.com, you can search as well there, search Zibu. You will now start to find some of his quotes, make them famous as well. Because I think we must support our own and make sure that some of the work that our own people are doing, they also get recognized. And we must buy as well, right? Not only look for free things, we must also buy. But of course, today, the 2 people may get the book for free. And then now I just want to go to Lindelwa. I don't know, Lindelwa, if you are here, Lebu, as well as SK, or SK is Sangwane, I'm assuming, because on my other program it was SK.
Yeah, Jabu, here's the updated program being flighted, but Sangwane and Lusani are not here yet.
Okay,
so
okay.
It's going to be Lindelwa and Lebu.
Okay, no, that's fine. I think we will proceed just so that when Quarterpast comes, and then we can all hear from you. But keep your comments coming. Keep your comments coming through, including what I'm seeing here. Some, they are giving you congratulations, my friend, on the book. You know, including obviously your wife as well. You know, Hlengiwe. We can't forget Hlengiwe. She has actually, if we are honest, Zibu, right? Hlengiwe is the one who planted the seed and said, but why can't you do this? You know, you didn't believe in yourself, if I remember the story well. And Hlengiwe planted. That is why they say behind every successful man, there is some powerful woman there in the background. So yeah, Lindelwa and Lebu, I want you to, if you are here, just introduce yourselves. And then I think you will be sharing a little bit more on the book as well, and then we'll take it from there. But we will ask some questions as well. Maybe let me start with you, Lindelwa. I don't know how you guys want to run it, but yeah, Lindelwa.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Lindelwa, we can see you.
Awesome. Thank you for the invite, Mr. K, and congratulations on your book. I feel very, very proud to be witnessing this. And just a bit of a background in terms of how I know Mr. K. So we worked together, and I was assigned to a program called Talent Management. And you go through different trainings, and because he's also a life coach, I didn't know who he was, but I was supposed to choose. I think I had 4 people that I had to choose to be my life coach, and I happened to click on his name. And we met. It was during COVID. We met, and I remember in one of the first sessions, he asked a question, who is your role model? And I was surprised because I had not been asked that question in many, many years. And I thought of it a little bit, and I said to him, I actually don't have a role model per se, but I do have people around me, because for me, the way I see a role model, it might be someone maybe, who is not around me, and I can't really say they inspire me. So I'm inspired by people who are around me that I have witnessed what they do in their day-to-day. And I am proud to say that today you are added to that list of people who inspired me, Mr. K, because with what you have done in this book, it's unmatched. And I remember when I started receiving your morning thoughts, and I looked forward to actually telling you in one of our sessions that, why don't you publish this? And when I told you, you're like, oh, no, don't worry. It's already in the pipeline. I'm actually working towards that book. So thank you so, so much for allowing us to benefit and to learn and grow from your knowledge. So my talk today is basically around 3 topics, if I may call it that. And the first one is why the morning thoughts. The second one is how do I personally use it. And then I'm gonna take you through 2 of my favorite chapters in the book. So for me, how I look at the morning thoughts is this. There are so many gaps in our society. We have witnessed, and I think we can all agree that a lot of us are struggling internally. And we see a lot of things happening, disturbing things on social media. And these things, when you think about them, you can tell that a person has moved from the center line and they don't know how to be centered. And for me, I use the morning thought as a tool to recenter myself, to recenter my brain. Even though it says morning thought, I generally use it throughout the day. I use it in the morning, I use it in the afternoon, I use it in the evening. And sometimes when I feel like I'm on the edge, I choose, depending on whatever issue that I'm dealing with, I choose a chapter and I start zooming in on it. I meditate, and it has become a tool that I use with my Bible. And I'm really, really grateful because, you know, sometimes you wake up, you are overwhelmed and you feel your energy shifting. You don't know what's wrong with yourself. And you pray, you start reading. And for me, the morning thoughts have done that, have become that tool for me. And you will realize why I'm saying this once I tell you what my 2 favorite chapters are in the book. And I have benefited so, so much from this book to an extent that I feel like it should actually be used in high school, in high schools around the country, simply because I feel like sometimes what we see right now in adults, it's something that has been growing in younger kids. And if we can actually help them to process things, to internalize things in a healthier way, to have a positive outlook in life, it can actually help them so that once they are adults and they have some difficult challenges and responsibilities that they have to deal with in life, they will be able to navigate those. So for me, I hope to one day see this book being used, even if it's a part of an English class where a teacher takes them through each thought and they zoom into that so that they are able to see a completely different world to what they are experiencing at that particular time. And with this, I'm hoping that the psychological markers that we see out there will become positive and there'll be a change in our society, and the energy that we are currently experiencing will change. And so for me, that's why the morning thoughts are important. I actually look forward to his texts. And sometimes I do wonder as well, when does he get a chance to actually write these morning thoughts? Because I've gone through the book, I think about 3 times. And depending on the situation, I zoom in on a particular chapter, but I still look forward to the text. And sometimes God has jokes, because he will just say something in that morning thought which speaks directly to me, and I find myself sitting with that text. And sometimes I text him and we start having a conversation around that. But sometimes I just kneel down and pray because of a light bulb moment that I'm having. And now the thing is, the morning thoughts found me, and this is just full disclosure, it found me at a point in my life where I was dealing with a lot of things, which also came out during our sessions. But then there was this book which was tangible, and I am old-fashioned like that. Sometimes I would pray and I'll be like, God, I need you to speak to me, and then I'll open. So people do this with the Bible. I sometimes do this with the morning thoughts and allow the universe or the particular energy of that day to take me to a particular page. And this has been an interesting exercise for me, because it cemented so many things that I've talked with him during our sessions, which allowed me to grow as a person. And I can now safely say I have grown 100 times from where I was because of the morning thoughts. And the funny thing is, I also read them in his voice. So in my head, I'll make a mental note and sort of read them in his voice and in his tone and how he articulates things, which makes it better. So now going to my favorite chapters in the book. The first one is trust and honesty. And the reason for this is because I generally struggle to trust people. I tend to think that unless I am in control of something, it can't be done properly. And what the morning thoughts have done was to allow me to be vulnerable, to allow me to actually trust that the next human being has best interest for me just as much as I do for myself. And it wasn't easy. And I do have my favorite thoughts that I tend to gravitate towards on a regular basis. And the first one is the morning thought number 63, which is on page 27. And it says, it is tempting to believe that there are things in life which are absolute. The truth is, honesty and even lies are never absolute. Everything has context and everything has relativity. We therefore need to be open to different views, thoughts, and opinions. And also the morning thought number 64, which says, they are not easy to do, like having faith in a person, thing, or a process. That is because having complete trust and perpetual hope patiently is often against one's nature. We tend to want to see results almost immediately. That's so me. Having complete trust in a friend is an indication of maturity of that relationship. A faithful friend is precious. A trustworthy friend is a gem. There isn't a true or best friend. There's only a friend. And like I said, for me, I used to struggle a lot, whether it was even with my own parents, siblings. people that are of my blood, I will struggle to trust them. And I found myself having to read these two thoughts over and over and over again, and praying on them and asking God to actually help me. And I can now safely say that I'm one person who says, you know what, if I can trust God, because the funny thing is, I would trust God, but I wouldn't trust people. That's the funny thing. I was able to go to God, pray, and hand something over to God and say, God, I am struggling to deal with this. But when it came to human beings, I used to struggle. And I had to ask myself a question of whether I need to be in control forever and be burnt out, or do I now need to start trusting people and be able to be vulnerable and say, I need help, or I need you to help me unpack certain things, or can you please just help me with this, or can you just listen? And having to read these two morning thoughts has really, really helped me and shaped me to such an extent that I do exactly with people what I do with God. Once I come to you and say, can you please assist me with this? I wait for a response, whether you're going to say, yes, I can help you or not. I'm still able to internalize your response in a positive manner. And for me, that is a huge milestone, because I've always been struggling. And as a result, I found myself losing friends. And now I can safely say that my cycle, since I've started with the morning thoughts and also with the sessions, has grown way bigger. Just this month alone of Jan, I will be celebrating 4 of my friends' birthdays. And before you find that I'll have, a friend's birthday, maybe here and there, not having to have friends who are, just 4 grouped together, because I didn't have many friends simply because I wasn't able to trust. And so the next one is morning thought number 65, just the last paragraph, which says we must be able to hold the same principles irrespective of where we find ourselves. We must always remain and maintain wholeness. It is when we are whole that we become truly trustworthy. Now, I had to ask myself this question: what does it mean for Ulindelwa to be whole? Does that mean that I need to be good all the time, to have positive attributes? What exactly does it mean for me to be whole, which will then lead me to being a trustworthy person? And personally, the answer for me is to embrace the good and the bad and work towards correcting the bad so that I become a better person. In other words, I need to be able to, even if it's not known by the next person, I need to be able to account to myself. So before you as a person, or you, for instance, as a friend, call me out on something negative, I need to be able to be the one to call myself out, because I account to myself. And what I found is that when I do this, the defense that I usually have around people, especially when they point out something negative in me, I don't have that, because I've already acknowledged that this for me is a negative, and I have actually started working towards it. So I don't take offense anymore when people point out the negative, which by the way, tends to build the friendships that I have. And another morning thought that I would like to zoom into, it's morning thought number 68, which says, so I'm not going to go through all of them, just, the ones that I tend to read over and over again while I meditate or pray. So the next one is morning thought number 68, and it's on page 28. And it says, trust means relying wholly and totally on another person with the hope that they will fulfill whatever it is given to them. We do not question their ability to make good on what they promise to do or will not do. We trust in things, we trust animal, but the greatest trust is in people. Complete reliance on them. At times, we trust people with our lives. It is no wonder, therefore, why trust can easily be lost and harder to regain. Now, I'm sure if you've been listening, why this morning thought speaks directly to me. In fact, it makes me emotional, simply because I've grown through meditating on it. I've found myself sitting, just quiet and processing what it means. And I would do that in most cases when I've been vulnerable with a person, and when I'm now in my corner starting to replay what I've done, because sometimes I'll be like, no, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe, being vulnerable wasn't the correct thing. What if one day this person used this against me? But meditating through this particular morning thought has assisted me to really let go and say, what they do with your vulnerability, it's not on you, and it has nothing to do with you. It doesn't reflect who you are. It says a lot about who they are. You have trusted them, and you have taken the leap of faith, and you were vulnerable with them. And therefore, allow yourself to be in this moment where you feel light, where you feel like, I have reached out to another person outside God, and therefore be okay with whatever happens. So with that, I have one more morning thought on this chapter before I move on to the next one. So this one is morning thought number 77. It's on page 29, and it says, integrity is not about anyone else, but you and the one you see when you look in the mirror. When everybody else is not around, you will have to account to yourself. And once again, this is simply because I'm at the point where I account to myself, but also simply because I only not want to be a good person for myself, but for everyone around me. And I ask myself, how can I be a friend who is able to be there for people with integrity? How can I be a good sister? How can I be a good colleague, a good partner? And those things requires integrity, which means you need to remove everything, all the psychological markers, and see yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you internalize, when you process everything that is happening around you. Who you are at the core should remain, because that is what makes you as a person, and that's what people get to experience. People don't necessarily, which is why I always laugh when the people say, oh no, don't go for a person who is good inside, because we don't walk around with we walk around with the physical human being, not the inner human being. But that's actually not true, because we actually carry ourselves from within, and what people see from outside is what's already being reflecting from the inside. And people tend to say, no, we rather just work on the physical, because that's what matters. But it's the integrity, the ulindelwa from within that people get to experience. So for me, that's another morning thought that I love. So let me now move on to the second chapter, which is also my favorite, and that is.
So Linda, just a
yes.
second, maybe you can, I will give you another chance, but maybe do the last one, because there's one colleague who's joined us, but I think he or she needs to leave. So I want to just give them a chance, but just if you can wrap up on this one, if you don't mind, then I will give you a chance again.
So it's okay. Let me give them a chance so that they handle their part, and then I'm gonna continue afterwards. Is it okay?
Yes, Lungelo, I think we can also take that approach. It's just one person, because I just got a message that they need to come in soon. That is Lebo. And then after Lebo, you can wrap up, and then I will call also Ntate Pule before Zibo comes. We do still have time. So I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Okay, Lebo, are you ready?
Good morning, Jabu. Yes, I am ready. I'm going to switch on my video so that you can just put a face to me.
Sure.
Then I'm going to switch it off again. You'll see why just now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I hope you can all see me.
I can see you, Lebo. I can see you clearly. You can proceed.
So my name is Kelebogile Lebo Ramokgopa, and I am a very, good friend of Zibusa, and I regard myself to be one, because we have walked a journey, through meeting virtually to meeting in person for the very first time last year, this time of the year. And I'm a life coach as well. I'm a podcaster, and also an aspiring author, on top of many other things that I do on the side. And the reason why I just want to switch on my video and switch it off again is because I've got a bundle of Joy here who was just feeding. So she's sleeping now, and then I need to put her down and, get with things before she wakes up again. But, it's walking this journey with Zibuza with the morning thoughts has been very, very profound for me personally, because I read a lot and I enjoy, different approaches to reading and to writing as well. And I love how he, encapsulates the mind every single morning with the different morning thoughts, and also the artwork that is, aligned with each thought, so it's been quite a journey, unfolding with him in terms of, where he started off and how he's gotten to where he is today, and the different conversations that him and I have on a regular basis, right? And then you get the morning thought that will at some point, affirm the conversation that we've had, or the inquiry that I had with him the other day, as an example, So it's been really, really interesting to see how the whole journey has unfolded. And how I personally relate to the different morning thoughts is that, as I've mentioned, I'm a reader of note, and I love reading. I love visuals. I love putting artwork to certain words and everything. And these morning thoughts have really, helped me start my day off on a very reflective note, because often we like to reflect at the end of the day, but then we don't always reflect in the morning. So the times that they come in is usually the times that I'm up, either preparing for work or, just lazing in bed and reflecting. So I start my day off with those reflections. And the messages, sometimes come in and you think, oh my gosh, I need to read up on something about hope, or I needed to read on a morning thought about, sing. There's a couple that I picked out, which really stood out for me, but I'm going to just focus on the themes, which the one was about hope, giving hope. And we wake up with new intentions for every day. We wake up with a renewed sense of hope each and every single day. And these morning thoughts, with some of these themes that I'm going to highlight on, reinforce the hope that we want to carry out through the day, the hope that we want to instill in ourselves when we go about our day, and the hope that we want to share with the world, as we go about our day. So that is one important theme that always stands out for me with the morning thoughts, is a hope that they bring. And I know on the 27th of November, he had sent out a thought regarding hope. The second one is just about singing, because we sing when we listen to our favorite song, but when the morning thought comes in, for me, it sings to me, depending on the theme that it comes with. And there was a thought that he shared on the 22nd of November. I just took a screenshot of it, I'm going to switch off my video and just read out to you now, which basically alluded to singing. And like I say, the morning thoughts will somehow sing to me, because at the end of the day, we attribute singing to just listening to music. But this is what he said in this morning thought, where he just said this, that there is something about music that makes it transcend generational gaps and bring people together. There is something about a song that makes us tap our feet, bump our heads, or move and sway. There is something about a good song when the heart is shredded to pieces that puts it all together. There is power in a song that makes us stronger. There is power in a song that revives people's resilience, courage, and will to survive. Sing a song when you're happy. Sing a song when you're in doubt. We must never negate our power through we must never negate our power through song. Sing your sorrows away. When did you last sing? So when you read a thought like that, early in the morning, because it came very, very early in the morning, but when you come across a thought like that, for me, it sings to my soul. It sings without any beats, without any, sounds attached to it. But it brings about a rhythm to me, when it speaks to me about, singing my sorrows away, singing, my happiness into my day, and reminding me of when did I last sing, and these are some of the profound moments that will come in, or profound reflections that will come in when the thoughts come in, because we sing differently, we sway differently, we sing as a matter of, or as a way of communicating our feelings, our emotions, and our thoughts and beliefs differently. And these morning thoughts come forward to me as a form of a song, or when they sing to my soul. Then the other one that I'd like to touch on is the one on the things we forget, where Zibuze said this, where people never exist by themselves, even when they seem to be alone. There is always a tribe that lives in them, and a tribe that influences their decisions and choices. As you read this, it's not just yourself reading, but everyone who has taught you a thing or two about life. Therefore, when we get into romantic relationships, we must never forget that we are in it with the tribe that grows every day. When we get married, we marry the tribe as well. However, we always carry the responsibility to protect the ones with whom we are in a relationship, against the toxicity and the violence that comes from the tribe without and within. If we fail in this responsibility, we have failed in the fundamentals of loving someone. And these are simple thoughts that we forget. These are simple actions that we forget. And this is what I love about this specific morning thought, because it reinforces and it reminds us of the little things that we forget in our day-to-day relationships. It reminds us about, how we interact with people, whether it's on an intimate level or on a very personal level, or even on a professional level, because we interact with people on different levels, and in different contexts. And sometimes we feel like we are alone, right? I'm a bit of a loner. People don't actually realize that I'm a bit of a loner. I've got a very introverted side to me, but when people meet me, they think, oh, she's so extroverted and so bubbly and, so, so outspoken. But I actually have this very introverted side, and I spend time alone if my daughter is not with me. But now I've got another one who's going to be with me a lot of the time. But when I've got those moments alone, I tend to reflect on the people that are with me in my loneliness, right? And I don't feel alone anymore. But if I'm all alone, then I reflect on myself in my journey of solitude. Okay, so we talk about tribes, we talk about our communities and everything, and we tend to forget them in times where we feel alone. We tend to forget them in times where we feel we want solitude, but then we need to always remember them in everything that we do. And this morning thought for me reinforces that, right? That we must never ever forget that we are in it with a tribe that grows every day. Today, as we are sitting here in this session, we are all collectively a tribe that's here to support an author and a friend and a coach, a husband, a father, a colleague. We are here as a tribe. And when he was writing these morning thoughts, I think he knew that he was also going to connect us as people. He was going to connect members of his tribe and also bring in new members of the tribe into the session through the thoughts and through the book as well. So these are simple things that we forget. So I love the themes that he puts out there. And then the last one that I want to just touch on is the delay, right? Which was also a morning thought that was shared last year. So it goes like this. The delay. It is hard to see someone else getting what they want and have to wait for your breakthrough. It is a bitter pill to swallow when you place an order and someone who came after you receives this before you do. It is heartbreaking to have the right credentials and yet your own doors are not opening. It is a difficult thing to accept that you have to wait while others don't wait the way you have to or the way you do. But your delay is not your denial of that which is due to you. The one delaying your release knows that what is yours needs more time to prepare, so that it is more sustainable. The only acceptable way to assist the waiting is preparation for the receipt, right? And with this morning thought, with the delay, it reminds me and it takes me back to my journey, especially when I just had my second child, because I've been praying for this baby. I've been wanting this baby and praying for her, and she manifested beautifully. And watching people go through their own journeys and getting what they want, getting their babies, getting the credentials, and navigating through life when you've been praying for something, when you've been wishing for something, when you've been yearning for it. It's sometimes painful, especially when you know that you're ready for it. But this thought for me was very profound because it reinforced something that I know is not easy for all of us to practice, and even me myself, delayed gratification. Because we tend to see people achieving and getting what we yearn for and what we want, but then we don't often understand why we are delayed to achieve what we want, why everything has its own timing. And it's very profound that, the thought touches on the different facets that we often find ourselves being delayed in terms of attaining, whether it's relationships, whether it's family building, whether it's work, whether it's money, whether it's various factors, right? But, it reminds us that, we need to always know that even with the delays, right, the maker in everything will always know what we need and the timing that we are going to receive it, and it teaches us to prepare. So there's a lot that I could touch on regarding the morning thoughts, but what I just like to just summarize is I love the authenticity that comes with these thoughts, and I'm very, very big on authenticity and how we relate with people and how we share authenticity and how we spread authenticity. These thoughts are not superficial, number one, and the manner in which they are written is in a very authentic and relatable manner, right? And they carry so many lessons and so many teachings that one can grow from. And it's not just reading them in the morning, but revisiting them during your day, revisiting them after, you know, a couple of months as well, as you go through the thoughts and the book. So the authenticity that these thoughts carry is very, very powerful and very profound. And it's relatable as well, which, you know, authenticates why they are so powerful to us. The other one that I want to touch on is just the artwork. So I love art. I love painting, and when I see the artwork, I always sometimes use these the pictures as, you know, my pictures, my profile pictures, because I love art, and because art communicates so much that cannot always be communicated using words, right? I see art as, and the artwork that is used in these morning thoughts, as a visual manifestation of the thought, right? Sometimes maybe you might feel like, oh, maybe it's not really aligned with this thought. But if you process and you take time to actually look at the piece of art or the artwork that has been attributed or associated with this thought, you'll see that actually there is a linkage, there is some form of alignment. You know, so Sibuza, with these pieces of art, he gives us a visual manifestation. Well, for me, I get that visual manifestation of that thought, or of, you know, another thought that, you know, comes from just viewing the piece of art, coming from viewing the visual, coming from viewing the colors that are being used there. So that is very, very important, and that is very profound for me. Then the next one is just the issue of self-help and self-awareness, right? Because these morning thoughts come to us one-on-one personally, and we reflect, we review, we introspect, you know, and we tend to share. But the role that they play in terms of one's self-help and one's self-awareness is very, very big, because they tend to take us back or bring us back to, you know, accounting and being aware of ourselves and accounting to ourselves. I love how Ulindelwa touched on accountability when she was speaking. And this is something that these thoughts are not short of, accountability. But they bring us back to ourselves to say, are you aware of yourself and how you interact with the world, how you interact with people, how you view yourself as, you know, a pillar, or as a, you know, a member of this world and the society? And how do you come to the world? How do you, take up space in the world? So it's very, very important that we take these nuggets of, you know, self-awareness and self, you know, mastery as well, and use them to show up as better people to the world, to the people that we interact with, but also to ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the charity comes from, you know, you, as how you relate to yourself before you relate to other people as well. If I can't treat myself with kindness, I will not be able to relate with people in a space of, in a kind manner. But then you get those reflections and those, lessons that bring you back to say, if this thought could articulate kindness in this manner, how do I show up to the world? How do I relate with everyone? You know, how am I a contributor to to people out there that need kindness? And this is where the self-awareness and, you know, self-help also comes in, because if you're not kind to yourself, you get reminded to also be kind to yourself. And then just my last, one is just how they also shape the way in which I pray and I meditate as well. Because sometimes you wake up and you read the Bible, or you read a quote, or you meditate in silence, right? But then sometimes I meditate using these thoughts, because they are quick meditations. Sometimes they serve as affirmations, and you look at them as affirmations as well. So it's very, very important how we use them and how we relate to them. And they start off our day to ground us. They start off our day to make us reflect, and to also just put us in line to some extent. Because I'm not going to go and show up to the world if I have, not put myself in line. And these thoughts contribute towards that whole process of putting yourself in line and aligning yourself to the world out there before you show up. It's when you walk out of your bedroom, when you're having that cup of coffee, when you're engaging with your children or with your partner, right? When you're engaging with your domestic worker, how do you show up? How do you align based on that nugget of wisdom that you have actually just read? And then very, very last one, which just popped up now in the notes that I've just been making, was, it was beautiful to also listen to these thoughts in the podcast that he had, or he still has, on Spotify. So the other day I was going through the podcast because I'm relaunching mine as well this coming week. And I listened to, the manner in which he articulated these thoughts in an audio version. And it was very, very interesting to see how, when he reads them and compared to how we read them, they sound so different, because it's like he's actually teaching you, but he's teaching you, yet he's conversating with you. And it was very, very interesting to me, because I'm like, when you read them, you can read them either in your voice or his voice, but to hear them from his voice on Spotify, right, it was really, really igniting as well. So I would really like to encourage Zibuze to really continue with the audio ones, because sometimes we cannot always read, because you might just be driving, or you might just be in the middle of something, or you might just be in the shower and you want to actually have that audio playing. Sometimes people shower with music in the background, or bath with music playing in the background. It is very nice to also have these playing in the background, maybe when you're in that moment where you are getting yourself together for the day, or when you're traveling to work, or even play them for the children when you're driving them to school, or when you're on your way to somewhere. So I would like to encourage that part to still, continue, because we need the different types of reinforcements, from the audio to the visual to the words that are spoken. So with that being said and done, that is just my reflections, and I'm very grateful and happy to just have been given this platform. And Zibuze, I really wish you the best of luck on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kilebohile Lebo. We really appreciate it. When I was listening to you, it's like you were preaching, speaking to us, and it shows that you have been part of this journey for some time. So, Lindelwa, can I just then give you a chance to wrap up? As you can see, Kilebohile has a little one there, so we just needed to give her a chance to finalize. We will definitely close at 12, everyone. So don't worry, we will definitely end on time. I just want to give Lindelwa the chance to wrap up her experience, and then, as I indicated, keep your comments coming. We will also have a draw immediately after Lindelwa. We will get to Zibuze, who will tell us more about the book. But also, I posted on the messages the link where you can order the book, and maybe have a copy as well. But you will also have a chance during this session to get the book for free. 2 people are going to be selected based on the comments that are there. Lindelwa, if you can come in, and we can wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jabu, for the opportunity once again. So, as I was saying, my next favorite chapter, it deals with forgiveness and assertiveness. And I'm going to start with Morning Thought number 167. It's on page 51, and it says, there is freedom in traveling through life, light. There is freedom in traveling through life, light. And for me, just this one line, I'm not going to read the whole Morning Thought, just this line, it really speaks to me. When I first saw it, I literally had to stop and think and check if I'm light. So what I like to do in the morning, as soon as I wake up, I like to check how I feel, how my mood is, how my body is feeling, if I have a headache, if my spirit is low. And when you go through your mornings with the morning thoughts, you realize that you become light each day, because there's something that it does to who we are as human beings. And you find yourself having to release certain things which are heavy on us. So I really, really love that line. And then the next one is on page 153, and it's morning thought number 176. And it says, what if the one thing, the one person you depended on will suddenly not be there? What if the ones you love suddenly are no longer available to you? The one you think will always be there decides they will no longer be there for you. Will they know your heart? Can they say they have experienced the best of life with you or around you? What if you knew they will be gone in the next few moments? Would you still harbor the anger? Would you still be selfish? Will you still make it all about you? What if you knew you were the one who does not have the time you think you have? And for me, it's this. I'm at the age in my life where I have experienced enough loss of loved ones to know that death will happen. And what we have right now is a gift of life. And I am really, really grateful for, that gift of life. And this morning thought cemented, it actually found me at a point where I started questioning my purpose, and I wanted to make an impact. I didn't want just to focus on my career, but I wanted to change lives. And when I came across this morning thought, it really helped me to grow and be positive about the steps. I'm not gonna go into the details of what happened, but it really cemented that I was actually about to take the right direction. And I think what we sometimes miss, it's just like God has done with Mr. K, is he knew that in this generation we will need something like this, and each one of us at a particular time we will need to zoom into certain things. And he, through him and him allowing himself to be used as God's tool, worked together with God to put together this book. And now, which is why for me, I read it side by side, with the Bible. I don't live it, because sometimes the Bible speaks, but sometimes these morning thoughts really jump out of the pages, and you start, having heart palpitations, you have goosebumps, and you think deeply about where you are in your life. And this particular morning thought has helped me to be a better person. And earlier I spoke about now even growing my cycle. It is through these morning thoughts and meditating on them. And another one that I would like to talk about is everything. So it's morning thought number 175, and it's still on page 53. And it says, everything starts and flows from self. Self-forgiveness, self-love, self-acceptance, self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-knowledge. And what I did with this morning thought was to create a cycle. And then within that cycle, so the inner circle I will just say self, and then outside with each cycle, I will say awareness, knowledge, reflection. And then I would choose on a particular day, for instance, if I wanted to focus on self-love, and I will zoom in deeply within myself that what is love to me? Does it have conditions? Is it unconditional? Does it mean that I love myself even when I don't feel worthy of love? And then I started working through the cycle. And the one part of the cycle that was very difficult to work on was self-forgiveness. But I'm happy to say that I have now forgiven myself for a lot of things that I have done. But it was very difficult, and it was also one that I actually I waited until the end. But the self-forgiveness, I looked at it from God's eye, how He loves me with goodness and with ease, even when I don't deserve it. And when I removed the condition that I had to be perfect, I had to do good and forgive myself, I found myself loving more, and I became more aware of myself. And I'm at a point where, like I said before, if someone comes and points out a weakness in me, I embrace and acknowledge it, because I already know these things about myself. I have done the work, and it is through these morning thoughts. So for me, I don't mind to stay with one morning thought for a week. I don't, at first, because I was curious to know all the morning thoughts, I read all of them, and then I started to just, so as I was reading, I would mark the ones that really stood out for me. But when I meditate, I can sit with one morning thought and really process, and simply because I believe that God is also talking through this book, just as He talks through the Bible. And therefore I listen, I sit patiently and listen. And sometimes, as you do with the Bible, where you read and you wait to hear from God, I do the same. I read the morning thought and I sit on it rather than rushing through the process. So once I got over knowing all the morning thoughts, I now started to work, because it's actually a tool. That's how I use it. It's a tool that I use on a regular basis to better myself, my thinking, and how I actually live life. And with that, thank you so much, everyone, and congratulations to you, Mr. K, once again, for the book. It has been an eye-opening, and I'm looking forward to the next one, because I am sure we will also benefit a lot from the next one, because I believe that you have grown as well from this one, and what we are going to get on the next one will be mind-blowing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindelwa. That was powerful. Clearly, it tells that you have not just bought the book, but you have read it, you have internalized it, you are living with it, and you read it with the Bible. So you have shared powerful stories, and we want to thank you for that. It's always good, when we have friends, or I don't know whether I call you a friend, because you did say he was your coach at some point. But
he's now my best friend.
Yeah.
He's now my best friend. We've now moved on from the coaching sessions. He's now my best friend. So yeah.
Great. I saw there was a hand, unless the hand was just meant to celebrate something. I hope that's the hand. It was meant for that. Now we are going to call the man himself. I think they have read a lot in the book, and the book covers, I saw Ephraim was saying it seems to be missing out, definitely. The book Ephraim, just to share with you, has about 348. I don't know what is the significance of the number, but it's about 348 morning thoughts, right? So it's got a lot of them talking about a number of things, you know, happiness, relationships, dreams, honesty, actions, faith, confidence, you know, you name it, love and commitment, and so on and so forth. So the book covers a lot of other things, you know, and there are a lot of thoughts that you can pick and even frame them, read them. And I think there's just this one thought before I read the bio of Zibu that I wanted to read to you, which I also think it's very important for us as a people when we observe and support such things, you know, to always be cognizant of. And I think it's 303, where it says we can choose to elevate others or demote them. We can also choose to always criticize or genuinely find something to compliment. We can choose to help build someone's self-confidence or help destroy it. In whatever we do, we should not be the reason someone hurts or cries. And I think Zibu, you know, has been blessed, and he always speaks the truth to various things, whether it's about what is happening in our relationships, what's happening in the country, what is happening at work. It's always a good compass for somebody to use. And I can tell you this book, I've read it, and I've read a number of books. The format is different. You know, it brings that thing where you can just read it throughout the year. It can be your journal, it can be your Bible, as Linda was saying as well, where when you read it, you can even think about other things. It can also be a coach on its own, just to guide you. So let me just call now Zibu to share with us where it is indeed, you know, it is indeed at your service. It's really like a devotional, and it's a devotional book that doesn't expire in my view. Let me introduce him. For those of you, I think many of you may know him, but he is born and raised from Soweto. He's got very interesting stories that he will probably write about one day, about him growing up in Soweto. He's born of Nomsa and Edward Kunene. Zibu is currently, let me not say currently, he's married to his lovely wife, Hlengiwe. And I think I did speak earlier about how Hlengiwe has inspired actually this book. Zibu has two children, Owetu and Nozibosiso. So these are the close brainchild, or the supporters, if I can call them that. So in 2017, he obtained his certification on coaching. So he's a certified coach, and he continues to do this work, and he continues to, you know, to inspire a lot of people wherever he goes. His humility, his calmness, always says a little, but it's just more powerful, and he just doesn't have a give up attitude. And we know he's also featured in a number of stations or media platforms. Your TUT FM is always on Power FM. Radio Pulpit, Impact has been on SABC, ENCA, and he does a lot of work as well for Dailies in the Picture. He has also been on TEDx, and he talks a lot, on various platforms. But I think what grounds him is his love for God and his passion for growth. And I think wherever he is, he always wants to impact people. And I'm very grateful that today we are gathered here to support him. So I'm going to call him where he will share with us more details in terms of what has inspired him to write this book. And he will give us more. So continue to write your comments. We have the last chance. After him, I will then announce two winners of the book who are going to get it and go and read it nicely. The book is available in an electronic format, but it's also available in a hard copy. I made sure that I have all of them. They don't read the same. So sometimes when you are driving or when you are wherever, you can listen to it. And I think Lebo spoke about that. Yeah, so Zibu, over to you.
Thank you, Jabu. Guys, welcome, and thank you very much, each and every one of you, for being here, for being part of this. I think God has a very, very funny sense of humor. He plays on my impulsiveness to get me to do things. And I remember earlier in the year, I remember from the time the book came out last year until earlier this year, then people were saying, hey, when is the book launch? When is the book launch? And God used my impulsiveness to get me to organize this, because in the spur of the moment, I created a flyer. I was testing out ideas and designs, and eventually I sent it out, and people started RSVPing, and I was like, okay, no more turning back. So this is me. This is what's happening. Leading up to today, I was even thinking, but God, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be this person of impact. I didn't sign up to be this person who writes books and does this. I just wanted to be in the background in my life and just cruise like that. But he had other plans. So I've learned to flow with him. I will not take up too much of your time because I'd like us to also engage. I'm a fan of conversations, and this is going to be one of them. But what I would like to say is that thank you guys to each and every person who has contributed in my life, to each and every person who has commented, given feedback on the Morning Thoughts, to every person who reads and shares them, and to each and every person who has then believed in the product of the book itself, that they went out and bought it. I remember one time I was posting some of the books, and this gentleman who was there doing just his own things saw the book and he was curious. He browsed through it and then he immediately bought it without even knowing it. And for me, that was another affirmation towards the Morning Thoughts. So I've struggled so much with the imposter syndrome, and put it that way, such that I didn't believe that it could be me. I didn't believe that it is still me. I still feel like this is too much, and everything that people say, maybe they're just being nice. But I've had to learn to come to the realization and accept that people are actually authentic. People are actually honest in their feedback. And so from the bottom of my heart, I thank you all. My family has played a very big role. My wife, Hlengiwe, my two children, Oe to Uzibusi, so they've played a big part of who I have become and who I am becoming. But I don't really want to focus on me per se, but I want to share the journey of this book. And if you haven't seen me or seen some of the videos where I talk about the book actually started as another impulsive thing, where we had gone to visit a friend's house and they had a braai, and then we were taking pictures. I was taking pictures actually. And then when we got back, I wanted to share the pictures with everybody who was there. So I started sharing the pictures. I created a broadcast list. Instead of just saying 1, 2, 3 person, share 1, 2, 3, I just created a broadcast list and sent it to those people. And then I decided to keep it and share jokes, sometimes 1 or 2 things which were quotes. And over time, I added people onto that. And while adding people onto that, I inadvertently, indirectly, and somehow kind of stepped on people's toes, because some of them were not even consenting to me adding me to that broadcast list. So eventually some blocked my number. And when I was sending a message to somebody, I was like, okay, yeah. So I kind of stepped on toes, but I later apologized. And then I learned the art of rejection. So you do get rejection. It's not nice to to have your number blocked. It's not necessarily you that is blocked, but it is the number that's blocked. When you discover that, it's not the nicest feeling. And secondly to that is, it's easy for me to get on my high horse and say, but why did you block me? Why didn't you just say you don't want to be part of this? But I had to have an internal conversation and say, but they didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for you to send these messages every day. And so they are well within their rights to do that. So there were lessons that I learned, such that I implemented another process where I asked people, if you still want to receive morning thoughts, just say block. Otherwise, let's continue. So we kept doing that, and morning thoughts kept growing. But late 2019, I was sending, not necessarily as consistent as I am now, but I was sending the morning thoughts not in the format that they are in now. I was sending just messages on a daily basis. And I remember for some time I stopped, and my nephew then said to me, hey, Kinfolk, because we call each other that. He says, Kinfolk, why did you stop sending in the messages? And I said, I don't have any particular reason. I just decided to stop. And then he says to me, you know, those messages, they help me. So he's in the military and they get deployed. And in where they get deployed, it's usually those, they usually get deployed to the deserts, or in very areas where they are remote and isolated. And he says to me, every time when I would feel down or feel despondent, I would then go to these messages, and they would help me, and they would encourage me, and they would motivate me. And so from that, I realized I had already created a responsibility to somebody else. And it was changing and impacting their life. And therefore, I needed to continue. And so that's when then the relative consistency started. It was not until 2020 when I was reading two books, the 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins and the 5 a.m. Club, where Mel Robbins basically says, whenever you need to do something, count down from 5 until 1, just like a rocket launch. And when you get to 1, implement that decision, do what you need to do, and don't even think twice. So for me, that helped me implement the 20-20-20 principle from the 5 a.m. Club, where for the first 20 minutes when you wake up at 5 a.m., you exercise, and then thereafter you meditate, and then the last part you then learn. So I then was implementing that 2020 principle coupled with Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, where I just needed to wake up in the morning. And it wasn't easy getting up at 5 a.m. when you're feeling tired, but also that discipline. So while I was awake, I thought, let me then start sending the messages. Hence, they became morning thoughts. And then I started sending them. And they've evolved over the years. You'll see with the books that I later release that there's a change, there's an improvement. And I was intentional in not changing too much on this first edition of Morning Thoughts, because I wanted the reader to be part of the journey and of the transformation, so that when they get to whichever edition of Morning Thoughts, they can then see that I, as a reader, have grown, as well as Zibuse has grown up until where he is right now, and up until where I am. And so that's why I was intentional about it. And Jabu asked about the numbers. The numbers are basically, I think I like how Lindela was saying it, that morning so and so on page. So they're more for reference purposes, but also to have that easy reference to somebody else. I can quickly say, if you have the book, maybe Morning Thoughts first edition, if you go to page 40 on 124, Morning Thoughts 124, we can all be there at the same time. And it does sound like a Bible. And I hope that it becomes somebody's Bible every morning. And I discourage people from reading it from cover to cover, but I simply say, pick a section, pick a number, and then read and reflect on that. How does that relate to you? And there was intention again with all of that when we were designing this and getting it there. And then eventually last year, actually it was in 2022, where I decided I'm going to take the risk and get the book published. And when I did that, I decided I'm going to put in my money. I cannot expect anybody else to put in the money on this and buy the book if I don't want to put in my own money, if I don't want to risk this and then, you know, get it published, because other people were already asking, where is the book? We're waiting for the book. And so I decided 2022, I'm going to put in the money into it. And I contacted, I think then it was Steven, and we talked about the book, but I needed the money, but I couldn't get the money. I think I was still doubtful by then. But in 2023, I decided I'm going to take the big risk, put in the money up front. We did the work, we did the cover, and there were delays and there were things that happened along the way. But I think it was in August, if not July, when I was referred to Vicky, Victoria, whom I call Vicky, where I said to her, look, I've got this book and I need it published. And I love how she immediately said, it's very expensive to self-publish. And so most publishers, they tend to take a lot of money from the author such that they are unable to publish their books eventually, or it takes them a very long time. And then she said to me, we are not like that. We do things differently. And so for me, the experience was client-centered. And that enabled me to then get the book published, to have that confidence again to say, this is what we are going to do now. And the process was very quick. She was very key in getting the quotations, in getting the book printed. I was very excited. And eventually the book came out and a lot of people had already pre-ordered. And it was rather overwhelming, but there was also the responsibility that I owe everyone who has ordered. I owe people out there this responsibility to publish the book and get it to them because it impacts their lives. And that's how the journey of publishing went. And what I want to share is, if you look in the book, at the end, I have added, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I have added these 2 pages. So these 2 pages for me, they are key. And I'll go out on a limb and say, neither of these organizations have contributed anything towards the book publishing, nor am I benefiting anything from them. But what I believed is that they represent something special in my heart. They do something amazing in people's lives. So the first one is Nhlamvu Yesizwe, which was founded by Usonqoba, and she's also on this call. And she did say that she was going to share the link with the other trustees of Nhlamvu Yesizwe. Nhlamvu Yesizwe is working with children at schools to get them funding, to get them through high school. And it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, where you were sharing the video and the progress of how these learners have come. It's giving dignity to children who are underprivileged. And Usonqoba also put in her own money into starting Inhlamvu Yesizwe, which is NYS. And with that, she also asked a group of friends to say, guys, I need trustees who are going to be part of this. And the trustees who came there were from diverse backgrounds. And I was very honored to be one of them. But at that time, I think I was going through my own self-esteem issues because I felt, "Ugh, these people are just here and I'm here and I feel I don't have much to contribute." And that was then. And so I excused myself for whatever other reasons because I was running away from that inferiority complex. And so the trustees have done an amazing work in that. The second organization, and maybe I don't know, so Ngoba, if you're willing to, I'd like to ask you to just come in briefly and share about what NYS is about, because I may be underselling it. Please come in if you don't mind.
Sure, Zibuse. Thank you so much. Let me find right buttons here. There we go. Thank you so much, Zibuse. Like you say, NYS was a group of crazy friends who believed they could do something based on the importance that education had in their world, right? And the impact and change that education had made in their lives. We're basically a group of kids who grew up in townships, but somehow managed to access amazing education, and our lives have been changed because of it. And we're paying it forward, right, by making sure that other kids who are growing up in townships are able to access quality education that can change their lives. And I'm so appreciative to you and the other trustees who've made that possible, and how we've been able to raise close to R500,000 now, and have 6 kids in school to make that possible. So I'm really appreciative, Zibuse, and you've contributed immensely. So never ever doubt or downplay that. I appreciate you so much, and congratulations on this book launch.
Thank you, Somnaba. Yeah. So the second organization is Dads in the Picture, and maybe before I move away from Somnaba, from NYS, is please, when you do have some money to spare, when you do have some time to spare, please do contribute to NYS. The details are on the book, and you can reach out to us afterwards and we'll get you in touch. The second organization is Dads in the Picture, an organization that I got to. It's also strange how it all happened. I remember it was 2013. I was invited on radio, Power FM again, to be a contributor on the show. And it was Truth Tuesday. By then it was Masichaba Lekalake. And for a few sessions, she would just say, Zibuse Gunene, welcome to Zibuse. And then one day, when she was introducing me, she said, Zibuse Gunene from Dads in the Picture. And I thought, I don't know what Dads in the Picture is about. I don't know who Dads in the Picture is. But after that evening, I went and looked up Dads in the Picture, and I discovered whom we fondly call Daddy Mish, and we started engaging. And that's how I became a member of Dads in the Picture. But prior to that, I'd seen them at Johannesburg Stadium where they were doing a national tour. And the funny thing about it is they came with bikes at the stadium, and we had the roar of the bikes. And I was even taking videos and pictures of these guys in bikes. And we were just like this with each other. And I didn't know that this would be an organization that I would later be part of. And so later in that year, I then connected with Udedimish, and Udedimish then said, hey, my brother, come in. This is what we are doing as Dads in the Picture. We are an organization that advocates for children to have a parent or a dad in the picture, that whenever they look back in their lives, they can always see that dad was in the picture, hence the name. We work mostly with fathers because it's fathers who have mostly been displaced from families. And therefore, this is seeking to say, let us bring back the fathers into the picture in the family, but also recognizing that some of them do not know, do not understand how to be a present and positive father. And therefore, we help them become a present father so that the child can then be able to say, Dad is in the picture. And so these are the organizations that I, through the sales that I'm getting from this book, will then be donating to these organizations. So this is why you should buy the book over and above buying it for yourself, because you will also be contributing to these two organizations. And then moving to the bookmarks, I'm going to be jumping around because I want to cover. So this bookmark, so Vicky said to me, we need a bookmark as well. And the artwork is supplied by Andrew Nsabele, who gave me the artwork for free, literally. I remember him as well in 2022, when he started receiving the morning thoughts. He said, my brother, please get a book out and I will give you the artwork for free. He literally said that. And when the time came, I asked for permission to use this one. He didn't ask for anything. He didn't say, yeah, but there's royalties, there's money, no, you have to buy it for this much. He just simply believed in the message of Morning Thoughts that he gave me this artwork. But I then came back and said, for every sale made from these bookmarks, I'll obviously pay royalties to him, because nothing worth receiving should be taken for free. So I'm not gonna just simply take the artwork and use it, but not give credit to him in the time that he spent. So we have agreed as well to do that, to have that arrangement. And then in formulating this bookmark, these words actually came in the spur of the moment when Vicky said, okay, send me a write-up and I'll put in the design. It's amazing how God just worked through me to get this message and this short, because I would have liked to write something long, but I thought it needs to be something short, quick, and to the point. And therefore, this was the message. And yeah, it's been a journey to bring this book to you, to bring the Morning Thoughts to you. And I want to just now talk to a few points quickly. I've gone over my time now. The Morning Thought podcasts, Lebo, I think I'll get back to that, and I'll get the consistency going there as well. There are other upcoming projects that we're discussing with Vicky just this week. It's different iterations of Morning Thoughts. It's going to be Morning Thoughts for this, Morning Thoughts for this, but also there's going to be a journal that comes out this year still for Morning Thoughts. So the aim is an improvement on this first edition, in that I would like you, the reader, to get the Morning Thought, take it out in the morning, read it, or whenever you get to read it, and then at the bottom, put down your reflection, so that at a later stage, you're able to say, this is what I was feeling on this day, this is what I was thinking. So you can put a date to it or not, but it's what I would like to give to you, a space to reflect in the next edition via a journal. And then we'll be doing other iterations of Morning Thoughts, which we are already working on. And I'll be doing, on the 10th of February, I'm also doing a Morning Thought reflection session. I'm basically saying, you've read the Morning Thoughts for January. What do you think? Are there any questions that you have? Is there anything that you want to ask? Is there clarity? What do you want to know? What do you want to share? And so those sessions would be more intimate as well. Please let me know if you'd like to be part of those. There is a cost. It's going to be $5.40, which is basically 100 Rand a month. And I'm basically adding value. you know, to whomever gets to be part of this. And then what I just want to also note is that, you know, the people to be part of the panel, they were not necessarily more important than everybody else who's also here, but I needed to think of people whom I can ask, right? But not add too many people so that the program becomes long. So it almost becomes like a finder type of thing. But they also hold a special place in my heart. Unfortunately, the other two gentlemen whom I would have loved for you to hear were also not here. One of whom has been a friend who has also opened doors for me in certain places, in schools actually, where I've had to speak to learners. And the other one is a gentleman from Malawi. Now, this story I have to tell. This gentleman, Sangwani, he's from Malawi, and he first came. Yo. If I were to tell the story of Morning Thoughts, would be here till I don't know when. But he saw the link via somebody else, and then from there he started then subscribing to the Daily Morning Thoughts. From there, when the book came out, he placed an order. He then had somebody else pay who was in South Africa because he's in Malawi. But then when I needed to get the book to him, it proved costly. So the option that was there was for him to pay more than double the price of the book to get the book there. Lo and behold, he actually made the payment. And for me, that was like, wow, that somebody would pay that much more for the book just to have it in his hands. And so I got the book to him with a little gift extra, and he gifted somebody else as well. So I'm really, really appreciative, but I'll also just respect your time, knowing that it's a Saturday morning. People do have commitments. I will let me not open the session, but I will hand over back to Jabu, and then we can do a Q&A. Jabu?
Thank you, Z. And yeah, you have said a mouthful, and I want to thank everyone who's still here. We are almost getting to the end of the program, but let's just give it a few minutes. Let me open the floor so that we can get your inputs, your thoughts as well before we close. But thank you, Tata, for the presentation. You are the one who set the time. It's not me. So I will hold you to it. But I'm sure there's more other legs of this. You know, we may also have a panel, as we have promised, where people give more reviews about this. So let me see if there are hands before we do the draw. We're going to be doing the draw live, so you will see it here. And Zibu likes artificial intelligence, so he talks about it. So I'm going to plug in your names on ChatGPT that I've received in terms of all the names that we got on the comments, and then ChatGPT will choose for us 2 winners for the book. So let me get the comments, and if there are no comments, Zibu, maybe you can give your final thoughts. But I don't see hands, so I don't know, maybe. Okay, I see there's something here, but I'm not sure how to.
I also don't see any hands.
Yeah, I think Portia.
Okay, I see Portia.
Yeah, this is the Portia that I seem to know. But Portia, I hope it is.
It is. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm glad I could support. Someone invited me, and I'm grateful for them. Congratulations, and thank you for contributing intellectually to the community. And I'm saying this as a reflection first to say there's a lot of negative discourse in our country about South Africa is going with some other direction. And to see positive, insightful, encouraging, and constructive narratives is really enlightening. It's encouraging. So thank you for that. And my question is, what inspired you? Like, how did you first put pen to paper and not stop? Because there are many people who maybe are afraid of being seen trying. They say you are not afraid of failing, you are afraid of being seen trying. What didn't stop you? And I'm asking this, I think, on behalf of all the people that want to write something. We all want to write, but none of us publish. So I think my question is, what didn't stop you?
Thank you, Portia. I think for me, what got me going was the feedback from people when somebody says, this has changed my life. On YouTube some time ago, I think in 2020, I did a few videos on reflections, and one lady was sharing how the morning thoughts helped her brother out of a depressive episode. And for me, that was big. So I thought I initially started Morning Thoughts to impact people, but the Morning Thoughts actually started changing my life. The Morning Thoughts started impacting me in a way that I now had a responsibility towards others. And so that's why I also encourage others that if you have a book, there's a reason why that book is there in your mind. There's a reason why you started. And that's because somebody out there, even if it's one person, but somebody out there needs it. Somebody's life needs to be changed by that book and transformed by that book. Does that answer your question?
It does, and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Portia. We really appreciate you, and it's good to hear your voice again. There was another hand. Where did it go now? Oh, Mbasa. Yeah, Mbasa. And then I'm going to give just one more chance, and then Mbasa, please come in.
All right. Thank you, Jabu, and greetings to all the attendees. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Wonderful. From my end, really, first things or top of the agenda is to congratulate Sibuse on this feat. I think Victoria did give an indication of how difficult it is to get a book published. And, friend to friend, I think really congratulations, 2 thumbs up. If I had more thumbs, I'd also raise them up. And also just really to appreciate the opening video about the power of one. I think that was actually quite powerful and inspirational. I think on my end, really, it's a question I think a previous speaker also raised. I receive Morning Thoughts on a daily basis, and I'm always, I guess, taken aback, impressed, and wowed by the fact that Zebuse on a daily basis, somewhere in between these 24 hours that we all have, finds time to draft these daily thoughts. They make sense on a daily basis. They are matched with visuals or artwork that actually speaks to the message. And I think that consistency is just, to me, mind blowing. 365 days a year. And I mean, as individuals, we go through a lot. There are days when your energy levels are far lower than normal and so forth. But to just have that spirit, that determination and consistency of doing this on a daily basis, I really commend. And yeah, congratulations once again, brother. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mbasa. Much appreciated. Yes, that video, The Power of One, is very, very powerful.
Yeah, it is. And thank you for introducing me to the guys. That video I was introduced to by Uchabu. We are also part of the 5 a.m. club, Warwards 5 a.m. club. And he shared that video and it resonated with me. And I've shared it intentionally as well, because it says, just start with one. once you master one, then it's forward all the way from there. Thank you.
That's it. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Zibu. Alfred, you are the last one I will take, and then we will do the draw. Then we announce the winner, and then we close. Alfred?
Thanks, Joe. Am I audible?
Ibo.
Okay, thank you. Mine is just a comment. I'm a former colleague of Zivuse.
Bra Alfie, you can speak.
Yeah, all I want to say is just...
Yeah, I can hear him, Zibu.
You can hear him? Okay.
Yeah, Alfred, proceed.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying, Zivuse is my former colleague. I want to bring another angle to this in terms of, his hard work, waking up early, to post those thoughts. I've also seen him in the workplace, being able to do work as well, and one would wonder how are you doing?
So Alfred, just a second, because I see people say they can't hear you, but I can hear you. So I'm not sure where the problem is.
Okay. Maybe I should turn off my microphone and turn it on again.
Maybe, because I can hear you very well, unless maybe we are sitting next to each other. I don't know. But,
okay. I don't know if I can be heard now.
Okay, they say no audio. So what could be the problem? Just a second. But at your service, I see you say you can hear. Kiawakwa, you can hear. Ephraim, you can hear. So I don't know where maybe you guys are on load shedding. Okay, Alfred, I think proceed. And then the recording will be available. Please proceed. But can you hear me at least, guys? Can you hear me at least, those who cannot hear?
Okay, let me proceed. I was just saying the other angle I wanted to put to this was that Zivuse was also quite a hard worker. One would wonder how he was doing it, waking up very early in the morning to do morning thoughts, as well as, when the day comes and he had to do his work, he was able to do that as well. It's quite amazing. Zivuse, thank you very much for this. I'm very proud of you as my former colleague. Very, very proud of you. Thank you very much. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. Denzi says, Zibu, you must write 2 books this year. Yeah, that's what Denzi says. At D, Mlambo, maybe come in and then we do the draw.
Thank you so much, everyone. Phew, I can say a mouthful. However, I've been like, I didn't want to say anything. However, something kept on pushing me. And I just needed to make this person know that how much he saved my life through morning thoughts.
Wow.
I've had so much going on in my life, but through morning thoughts, I tell you, you saved my life, my brother. Wow. All I can say to you, I say, when God gives you a crown, never allow anyone to spit on it. Have grace to finish what you have been called for. Your calling has a reason and purpose only known to him that no man in flesh will understand. Your calling through morning thought is there to save lives, save the community, save the nation at large. I thank you, Z. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you, Tutu, for that. Tutu is also a colleague and has become a friend. And yeah, that's another reason for me to keep going. I just want to share a very short story. In 2021, I got COVID, and I remember in that week when I was going through the motions, one thing that was on my mind was, this is not the end. I'm not gonna let it kill me. I'm not gonna die through COVID, because there's still so much more to do in life. There are still so many other people to impact. And the consistent conversations that VK and I have had, she says, she asked me, so what is your end goal? And the end goal for me is always impact. So for as long as I'm able to have that impact on others, I'll keep going. Over to you, Dad.
No, thank you very much, Zibu. So that is, and your other name I hear other people call you Lemi, you know.
Yes.
So, yeah. So thank you very much. So now let's do the draw so that we can close. I will, as I said, Zibu likes this thing of where is my tab? So I hope you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Zibu, is my screen showing?
Yes, it is.
So you can see, so this is transparent. We are going to choose just 2 names, and I'm going to tell this thing to give us 2 names. I have your list, and the names that we gave comments were there. So all of them are there, as you can see. So we're gonna just give 2 names who are going to get the book. And the names are Tumi Kutumela and Lerato Klame. Tumi Kutumela and Lerato, you are going to get the complimentary books and the 2 bookmarks. So 2 books goes to Lerato Kutumela as well as to Lerato Klame as well as Tumi Kutumela. Well done, well done. You saw it was not written, there was no corruption. You saw it live. So we want to please do me and Lerato, you give your details to Zibu, whether it's the postal, and yeah, I like audited results at your service accounting. Thank you very much. So you will get this book, you know, this is the book, you will get it. This is the book. And the book is valued at $250, imagine, for free on a Saturday. So, no, thank you guys, and let's continue to support, you know, our people. Let's continue to read the books and write the books, because as Professor Marwala says, those who don't read and don't write, they must not lead. Maybe that is why some of the challenges we have some of our challenges we have in our country. So, Zibu, let me give it back to you so that we can close. Thank you very much for all your attendance and for being here. We really appreciate it to see so many people here, familiar faces, supporting this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tata, for a job well done. And congratulations to Lerato Intumi. Yeah, guys, thank you. I look forward to sending the book. And I add a personal message on the book itself. And you are going to be part of the first 100. The first 100 is basically the first 100 people who believed in the Morning Thoughts, as well as you guys who are here, who have been in this session. You believed in this, what can I say, in this launch, that you chose to be here and sacrifice your time. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I want to thank you. With that, I don't want to belabor too much on what's in my heart, but I just want to say this is the first, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and I will let you know when the next book is out. The person who just commented now, Jordan Jones, he's got the only hard copy in the United Kingdom of Morning Thoughts. So he's the first person to buy the book, the hard copy, in the UK. He's also a twin of mine, born on the same day as I am. So thank you, Johns, for your faith and for your support, as well as everyone else who has been on this call, who has been part of this launch. Guys, thank you. I can never thank you enough, and I appreciate you every day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and the recordings will be edited and shared with you later so that you can keep them in your memories. Thank you very much, Zibu. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.